Hello, everybody. Welcome to Football Tonight. Here, brought to you by TopFCTV. I was hearing my music back, but then again, we are live here with Laurent Teams here on the Football Tonight show.
Hey,
Uh,
hey,
what a
hey.
great, what a great show yesterday on the Squeaky Bomb Time podcast. Nice.
Hey, thanks, man.
It was a nice show. Nice takes that we're gonna
Mhm.
reiterate a little bit today. I'm gonna still look for some fresher news, but at the end of the day, man, what a game! The game of the week, maybe the game of the year.
Yeah,
Manchester
yeah.
City, Chelsea, 4
Mhm.
4. Really good game. We're gonna talk about Liverpool. We're gonna talk about Arsenal, of course. Manchester United finally beating the powerful Luton Town. Uh, nice game at West Ham in Nottingham Forest. It was a nice
There
game
were
right
2
there. A
good
lot of
games.
goals.
Everton
Yeah,
also against Crystal Palace, 2
yeah,
5 so they had 5 goals and 5 goals, but reverse scores, so good games all
exactly.
around. Mhm.
Really good Premier League games. Of course, all the other leagues are going on as well. La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga. Football is at its finest right now. Even though they're coming to a stop, a lot of people don't like international breaks.
Oh,
I do.
oh,
I like watching national teams. I
I hate
do.
it. I hate it.
Uh,
I hate it.
but most people do hate them.
They're so
People,
annoying.
yeah,
Especially after this week, like, if you're Chelsea, you're just like, "Come on, man, we're ready to
yeah.
go."
Yeah, you got to say that Chelsea would rather keep playing right now.
Oh, for sure,
At
man.
this
They
point,
got the bit between their teeth. They're ready to go, man. They are ready
we're
to
gonna
go.
have our the donkey of the week, the star of the week.
Okay.
Obviously, the best match, which is
Yeah.
probably going to be Manchester City Chelsea. So, I mean, I don't think there's going to be much of a debate there. Even though,
Mhm.
like I said, there's other matches that were good to watch. But yeah, man, let's get started. By the way, first I gotta put the plug in. Please share, subscribe, like the video. Let's get to 50 likes in this podcast episode.
Mhm.
If you are listening on the audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you're listening to, please consider rating us, like us, follow us anywhere you go. I'm sure there's a like button or a follow button. So, you know what I mean? Please consider doing so. But yeah, man, Chelsea, Manchester City. A lot of people say, or have the way the aura is happening, like the way you feel it, like the yeah, the aura, like it feels like City lost and it feels like Chelsea won.
Yeah,
And maybe
I think that's accurate. I think that's
but
accurate.
it's just a tie, and
Yeah,
I
but
get
it's
it that
about
it's more it means more for Chelsea because of where they're at
yeah,
right now. You
yeah,
know,
it's the story. What story is more interesting? Whose narrative increases? Whose path to glory is cleared? You know, whose horizons are brightened? It's Chelsea all the way. I mean, I'll start with Chelsea. I mean, I think, if you've listened to most of the season, I sort of said, "Hey, I think Pochettino's on the right track. I think this team is going the right direction. I think it's going to take time." And I think Pochettino is finding it. I think it's not a coincidence that Cole Palmer came into the side and things started to click. I think that, fundamentally there are some things we were talking about. Hey, they need a crack. They need a player that can unlock things and link things together. And Palmer
right,
has become that for the team. He's not any better than anyone else, but you just need to find roles for people. And that happened. I think, one of the narratives about Chelsea was that they were bad. And I don't think that was ever true. They were always a good defensive team. They always were able to shut teams down and control games. Their issue was they couldn't score. Raheem
right,
Sterling would have moments, but he's not prolific, right? He gets
right,
on the ends of things, he makes things happen, but if he's one on one with a keeper, I'm going with the keeper.
right,
um, but I think in this case, when Raheem scores his goals and things happen, when Reece James is in the side, if you know Chelsea well, you know that over the seasons, whenever Reece James is playing fullback for Chelsea, he's their Trent Alexander-Arnold without being a liability on defense. He's that good of a passer, not from that three-quarter space, but more from the byline, more firing in things from the side. He's got that Trippier, that right back who controls things. Trippier, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Reece James is in that group. So Reece James, Palmer, Sterling really leading the attack. Caicedo and Enzo holding things in the midfield, and then the wild man, who I love, is Conor Gallagher, who's the energy guy, if there's an embodiment of this club that cares and plays for the badge, he's a Chelsea through and through. He left on loan and came back and said, "I'm not leaving. I'm staying. Like Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street. I'm staying. That's that's Conor Gallagher, and
Yeah.
he's just, yo, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna fight for this club, and it's his shot
Right.
that creates the third goal for for Jackson. So amazing game, and they're on the up and up. Chelsea can breathe. They're like, you guys laughed at us about the 4-1 against Spurs. Spurs got all the plaudits. Well, we won that game, and now we're going to win this game. And so, we're going to lift ourselves up. We got the draw. We got the penalty late. We got the energy. We get the whole thing. So I think even had City won this game, I think Chelsea would have still felt good. But to get the draw is even better.
Yeah. No, definitely on the Chelsea side is always good. Now, was it a penalty?
The Holland one or
The
both?
both.
Yeah,
You think so?
I mean, Diaz just completely clears out.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Um,
tried to get out. He tried to get
I
out the
know.
way, but he still. That
I mean,
last one was definitely a penalty.
yeah, Diaz is
To
the
say the least.
one City defender who I think is more old school than Pep would like. Like, he's a tackler, he's a diver,
Been
he's
there.
not great on the ball. He's a real senor. Like, he's a real defender. And that's what he does for City. He's not going to be the one playing in the midfield and messing around. He's getting stuck in, he's tackling. He does it through leadership and force. He's more of the Puyo than the Pique.
Right. Yeah. So, but what are your takes on?
Mm.
I mean, City is still the best team in the Premier League, but they are showing certain flaws
Yeah,
game after
sure.
game.
I think there's a couple of things that we can say for City. One, they can go up and down. If you want to go up and down with City, you can go up and down with City.
Yeah,
But and this is the way to beat City, is to actually not be afraid. Sometimes you give up 4 goals, but you might score. I think
that is true.
Guardiola at left back is not great. So because Kyle Walker is literally one of the best defenders you'll ever see, invariably when City give things up, it's always going to be on that side. Gvardiol dove in on the Palmer one where he came down the wing by himself. Gvardiol was a mistake for the that's the James goal for the Raheem Sterling goal, and then Gvardiol makes the mistake and opens things up on his own for the Raheem Sterling goal. So it's a little bit of Gvardiol. He's 21 years old. He's a fullback. He doesn't want to be out there. I don't think Rodri was particularly good. So the things that we see from City that are normal, the control, like we get the ball, we keep the ball, we don't give up goals, we don't give up shots, was not there. And I think part of that is Doku and Foden, like I was saying before we started the show. City can go up and down and be direct, but they're at their best when they slow it down. And Foden and Doku do not want to slow it down. They want to go and attack. What does that do? Creates more opportunities, more times where the other team has the ball. Normally, City just suffocate you. One
Right.
of the reasons that even though Doku is more exciting, Jack Grealish is so valuable is Jack Grealish gets a ball, he stops it, he slows down, he takes 3 or 4 touches, and all of City come up together, and they're in the final third as a group.
Yeah.
And there's no spaces, there's no gaps. This is how they play. And so when it's Foden and Doku and no Kovacic, none of those players that Pep Guardiola calls a pausa, a slowdown, or a guy who slows the game down and changes the pace, then it becomes up and down. And I don't think you'll see City play with this particular group of players again. You won't see Doku and Foden together ever again. Oh, sorry. You might not,
Doku,
because
yeah.
I think that no Kovacic is also a pausa. He gets the ball, he slows it down.
Well, but he
the other way.
you need him actually. You need him on the pitch if you're going to play those two guys that are always going nonstop. But I mean,
Mhm.
I wouldn't just say that it's a done deal that they wouldn't play with
It's
each
not. It's
other,
not that there's anything wrong. It's Guardiola's
because you
preference.
need to
He
have
doesn't like not having control.
yeah, and but I think that Kovacic could do. I mean, Rodri would have to contain himself from going forward a lot.
Although he did get another nice goal.
He did another.
With the
Well, it was a
Champions League all
deviation
over
too.
again.
So, but yeah, I mean, he is a threat as well. And
Mhm.
man, it was just a to me,
And
it had everything everywhere. I don't know what the hell's going on in the UK that rains every single match.
it
But
rains.
it,
I
it-
don't
I
know
mean,
if you know this, Chris. It
it
rains
rains
in
a lot.
England
It rains a
every day.
lot.
A
It
lot.
rains so much in England because man, every match that I watched is
It's
raining.
raining.
and it's
This
had
is
the epic,
this is welcome to England.
and it has an epic tone to it.
Yes, yes,
Every goal they're so
yes,
wet,
yes.
and they're
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
running
you
and
can do a knee slide
sliding.
forever.
Yeah,
So I
no,
don't
I
know,
mean
Chris, I don't know
the
if you know this, but I used to go to England when I was a much younger man, and I went to London. I remember a couple of winters in a
yeah
row in the mid '90s, and let me tell you, it rains every day, and the sky is close to the ground. And when it's not raining, it's still wet. Remember, it's an island in the middle of the North Atlantic, one of the coldest, least hospitable places you can go. So
yeah
it's just wet all the time. Everything is wet. The ball is wet. The field is wet. The players are wet. Everyone is wet
yeah. I know
constantly.
but it definitely gives you that epic
Yeah, it does.
look
It's
to
gothic. It's
every
gothic. It's got like a weight
yeah,
to it. Yeah.
and it's wonderful. It really is.
Hmm,
But
hmm.
other than that, though, I mean, yeah, for Chelsea, emotionally it's good, but at the end of the day, it's just a point. You still have to
It's
gotta keep
just a
grinding.
point. Yes,
You
yes,
gotta
yes.
keep grinding because right now, 10th, 10th,
Yeah,
haven't moved.
I think the thing is that now I think we've seen from Chelsea is that they're a young team. They're
You
inconsistent.
think Chelsea now that's 10th, you think they can win? They can go up to European football.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be
You
tough.
said it on your show. Don't backpedal now. You said that you could. You
I
see
think they
them.
can, they can, but I think it's a question of there's a lot of teams in the way. What we do know they have is there's a lot of depth on the team in terms of talent. I don't know if they're all Premier League ready, but every guy on that team, a lot of money has put into. They are talented, right? So let's put that aside. Chelsea are super talented. The second thing is Pochettino takes time and is a good coach. I think there is a question about whether he was a good coach after the PSG thing, but I think with a young team where he can be in charge and move the whole thing forward, I think he's getting there. If you remember earlier in the year, I was like, are they going to win any of these games? And
Right.
they were able to turn it around. But I think the difficulty is, right, let's assume something. City, Arsenal, Liverpool are going to be the top three in some order, right? That leaves Spurs, Aston Villa, Man United is in sixth right now.
Are you gonna skip?
Newcastle's in
No, you're
eighth or
gonna skip
something.
Newcastle? No, they're seventh.
Seventh.
Newcastle.
Those four are the next four, right? Newcastle is taking on water
I
right
don't.
now.
I don't see one, two, six teams falling off the face of the earth for Chelsea to go in there. I just don't see it. The
Well,
way
remember
Aston
that
Villa's playing,
if England does really well in the Champions League, they will get a fifth Champions League spot. So fifth might get
that is
into the
true.
Champions League. So I fifth is going to be tough. I think it's a question about what do you think of Aston Villa and what do you think of Man United. If one of those teams sustains where they are, it's going to be really tough. And then your boys, it's tough that those top three are there. That next three is a dogfight, not including Spurs. But I do think Spurs are in trouble, a lot
So
of trouble.
let's talk about that because that's one of the things I want to ask and post on
Mhm.
is a clip. Have the question is because looking at how Spurs have came back from a loss with Chelsea, losing against Wolves, a team that's giving people problems. Manchester City lost to Wolves,
Yeah,
so
but that's
take
with
that in
Neto. This is
consideration.
different.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, they had some injuries, but so are Spurs now? Are they really going to fall off the face of the earth? Do you believe Spurs can come back and fight for those top? They're 26. They're literally 2 points away from City.
I don't think they're going to fall off the face of the earth. I don't think they're going to have a 10-game unbeaten run in the next 10 games they've already lost 2 of their last 10. So, let's say in the next 8 games are they going to win 4 of them? Maybe. Maybe. But I do think losing Madison, you could see what happens immediately. Son becomes ineffective because there's nothing linking those two midfield dogs of
Mhm.
Sar and Basuma to Sonny because those two guys are running around trying to fight. I don't think Hoiberg. They basically ran with a 3-dog midfield where none of them can make a pass forward. Right, they're not
Yeah.
creative enough to get where they need to go. And then Van de Ven and Romero are a huge loss. I think once what did the line was Van de Ven is the best defender going backwards in the league. He's the best backwards defender, meaning
Well,
if the ball's in behind and he's running behind you, he'll catch you.
yeah.
and he can.
Yeah.
He's a great
Well, he is
facing
the
his own
best.
goal, which is weird.
He's probably the best. Well, if
He
you want to
was.
play a high line, he is the
He's
best
really good.
defender because he will catch up to you, and he's.
Yes,
I don't
he'll
know.
let you. He'll let that ball play, and then he'll catch up to you. Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
and so he's not somebody, and he's a younger guy, so he's not somebody that.
But he's out
Oh,
until January.
so yeah,
Madison's out until January. Romero's going to miss the next one or two games with the straight red. So the next two could be tough. Spurs need an easy game, and it's not going to get easy. They have United. I think they have City soon. Their schedule gets a lot tougher. They had been pulling games, to be fair, out of their butt, which was fine. Like I said, you get the wins you get. Doesn't matter how you get them, but they were not. They were getting results that were not in line with how they were playing. Vicario was just amazing for them, and he was amazing in this game too. He made another really good save. So difficult for Spurs to stay in this fight, but there's no reason they can't battle all year. I just don't think they will be the team to make it. So their next games, look at this run of games. You ready? After the
yeah,
international break, Villa, City, West Ham, Newcastle. That's a tough group. That's a tough group. Newcastle will be at home. It will be less of a problem, but they have a tough run. It won't be easy for them. But I like Spurs. I think they'll be fine. I think Postecoglou will find a way. He's got the right attitude.
do you think they'll finish
Really
top
good.
4, top 5?
Yeah, they're in there. He made a really good joke, and they asked him, "Oh, how are you doing? Now that you've lost your players." He's like, "Mate, I lost the best striker in the league already. This is fine. I'll figure it out."
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Um,
But Wolves,
so
man, I love me some Gary O'Neil. What a legend.
Wolves is they're doing well. It's surprising they're just so tough. They're 12. I
A
mean,
good coach makes
they
a
just haven't been
huge
getting the results
difference.
really.
They
That's the
have a
thing, though.
good coach, man. Gary O'Neil is legit. He's
Yeah,
got that team up for the fight. I mean, couple things go their way. Wolves got 2 more wins. Easy. They've got the
right.
United win and then against your boys. 2 more wins. That's a lot. That's another 6 points. That puts them in really good stead. The Sarabia goal is fantastic. The touch in the fire. He'd been a bust for them. All the Wolves fans was like, get him out of the club. We hate him. All of a sudden, he comes on, 86-minute touch and goal. Eric Dyer getting lost. The traditional crap defense of Spurs that had been under Conte. When, if you listen back to the old Conte video where he says, "It's not my fault. I was here before and I was here after. These teams still sucked and all these players sucked." It's a great, when he loses his mind in last season, when he hammers Spurs, this is the lead up to his firing. When he says how bad the team is, and then Postecoglou's like, "Oh, word? This team's good." But Davies and Højbjerg and all those guys, they just lost gear. Gary O'Neil was involved in the throw-in for the goal. He's like G'ing his team up. They played quick. They knew Spurs was out of gas, and Gary O'Neil just got that Wolves team to play with the way he needed them. Really a lot of respect for Wolves. A team, if you know, way back in the day, in Squeaky Bum time, Mike, my old partner, he would always talk about Wolves. He loved Neto. He loved Wolves. We all had our side teams, and they were great.
Yeah. Other than that, really, I mean, the West Ham and Nottingham Forest was a good match, but really, just it was very unbalanced matches this week. I mean, Arsenal, Burnley, you expected a win. United, Luton Town, 1-0. I mean, you figured they would beat them by a mile, but they just cannot perform well, man. They just cannot perform well.
I mean, what was the last? Well, I think Manchester United, I'm not even being funny, have had 2 decent halves all season. The second half against Nottingham Forest and the first half against Spurs. That's it.
Yeah.
Those are the only periods where they looked like they were playing.
Exactly.
Otherwise, there's nothing in Man United that says that they are going to finish in the top 4. But there they are.
But it just might happen.
5-1-0 wins.
Exactly.
And they're getting it done based on moments. And they still defend okay. I mean, those clean sheets are not nothing.
Right. Yeah. And then Arsenal did their job with Burnley with a man down, which is remarkable. But 3-1, and then you got Everton, Crystal Palace was good. A lot of goals right there, 5 goals.
Everton.
That was nice.
They have scored 3 goals on the road 3 times this year. They had not scored 3 times in a row in 5 years in
Yeah.
any season. So, I mean, Deichball, they're better. They're just better. They just have good players. He found out where to put them. They scored 3 goals without Calvert-Lewin scoring a goal. They're having fun. I like it. I like when Everton are good. They're going to need to bank those points because they might get a 10-point deduction.
So, okay, so I found an article today. I wanted to bring it
Yes.
up. That Premier League cult hero reveals a 5-point plan to sort out VAR shambles, and
Uh-oh, here we go.
VAR has been really, that's the craziest part, that we just talk about VAR every week, every match week is
I
almost
don't
seems
want to
like,
talk about it. I hate it. Get rid of it.
okay, but we have to analyze. There's got to be, that's easier said than done. You say get rid of it, but they're not going to do that. So we have to kind of be reasonable. So Neil Warnock
Legend.
has called on referees Chief Howard Webb, who, by the way, apologizes only to Arsenal. Anybody else doesn't get an apology from Webb. I don't know if there's an agenda or
Well,
what. I don't want to throw this out there or throw in the suspicion that but he only apologizes to Arsenal. Doesn't apologize to anybody else. So he's called on Howard Webb and said to recruit ex-players and managers to sort out VAR shambles that is ruining football, according to him. 74-year-old boss. And so he says, and this is not the only place I've heard this. I've heard this in Spanish, everywhere else, that they say, look, get some former players out there that know what a football play would be, instead of analyzing it like robots. So do you think this could work?
No. I think that ex-players and coaches, we know how they think. We see them as pundits on every single show.
Well,
And
not every player. I mean,
just hold on. Listen to me. What happens with them is a lot of them, and you know this and I know it, a lot of them don't love football. They love the job, but they don't watch it and consume it and really care about it more than anything in the whole world. They get tired of it. A perfect example, Greg Burley on ESPN, a pundit who I really like. When he's not working, he does not watch football. He doesn't want to talk about it, right? Or listening to different pundits. All you have to do is listen to Talk Sport for 10 minutes. They're morons. They don't know anything more than a referee does. So I don't think that they're a good judge. Listen, anyone who gets to a high level could be, right? Oh, they're not players. They're not players. A referee is not there to be a player and adjudicate in that way. They're there to be a judge based on the laws of the game. You think these guys want to call some of these plays this way? They're interpreting the laws of the game based on what they know and how they're graded. Tell me how the referees are graded, and I'll tell you how they ref the games. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't know what the score is. We don't know what the referees' reports look like. If we knew what they were being graded on, then we can probably figure out how they make the plays. Because if their role, it depends what we want our referees to be. Do we want them to cover the letter of every law and every call? We'll get one version of football. If we want the referees to be in the flow of the game and make calls based on entertainment, based on, oh, it's a derby, someone got stuck in the first 5 minutes, do we give them a red? I think no. I don't think you give someone a red early in a game. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But we need to decide as a football community what we really want. So instead of just fighting or whatever, I would rather have a big committee, a big meeting of just like, hey, let's look at the laws of the game one at a time. Let's decide what we want and then hold it to that standard versus just flailing. Like, they need to strategically think about what it is a referee is meant to do. Is it for the entertainment of the game? Is it to get the gambling community right? Why? What are we doing, and why are we doing it? That's really my whole thing with VAR. Like,
well,
if it's not serving anyone, don't do it.
But see, it's not going to happen. They're not going to get rid of VAR. So what you're saying is not going to work. They're not going to get rid of it. You have to find a way to make this work some sort of way.
Here's the thing we know. Football became the most popular sport in the world over 150 years without VAR. That's a
Yeah.
fact.
But also
Okay.
without an offside line, without
No, the offside came out in the
without
teens.
players being able to now they can't pass back to the goalkeeper. So things
Yes,
have changed.
yes, I understand what you're saying. I agree, right? We used to have, all sorts of things. They changed the offside law in the 30s. I understand the history. They didn't have cards until the 50s, all modern things. I understand that. But what I'm saying is that um, VAR, I lost my train of thought of what I was saying. What I'm trying to say is I don't like it. I don't want it. But I understand we need it. But I really want to make sure that we adjudicate the games based on what do we want from games? Do we want the letter of the law? I don't think anyone really wants the
the,
letter of the law, honestly.
that's the only problem with me is that it's become number one the number one subject every week, every match, every big
Because they
match.
check everything. They need to stop. The, the,
It's
the
in,
one the one that drove me crazy, the Holland goal off his ass or balls that he scored, that they were checking for a handball in the goal.
yeah. But also like there's inconsistencies like Anthony, and this goes beyond VAR, but like Anthony, the guy that
Taylor.
refereed, Anthony Taylor, he just comes to being demoted, and then you award him with the best match of the week. It makes no sense
Well,
whatsoever.
the guy was
Eh,
a FIFA referee. He was the English representative in the World
Yeah,
Cup.
but
Does he get
yeah, it
bad
just still
because he
doesn't make
had one
sense.
bad game? He
Yeah,
took his
but
punishment and
you
comes back
can't.
up.
Yeah, but you can't get awarded the next week. I mean, the next week you're gonna get awarded. At least get him a beyond. Not to say that. Let me look at a team that actually the Bournemouth, Newcastle now, like just a lower level game that you can say, okay, let's
Crystal
give him this one.
Palace, Crystal Palace, Everton.
It should be like that. Give him not
Mm.
because of Everton and Crystal Palace, but to say like don't give him the most important match of the week because if he screws up, then he can't work anymore ever. So you know what I'm saying? But they just make stupid decisions after stupid decisions, and they are looking for perfection when it just can't because one week they call out something, and the next week they don't call it because there's two human beings in two different instances, two different matches, and all of a sudden you get that scrutiny from
Chris,
people
here's
all
the
the
thing.
time.
I don't think two games in two different weeks should be called the same way.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
context of the game has to be taken into account, right? I think that's the thing that's so difficult for fans.
But if yeah, that is true. But the point of if I push off and it doesn't get called off versus a push
Then
off
you
that
don't
gets
call
called.
any push-offs.
Well, but you can't do that. You got to be if not you're having a wrestling out there.
Or you go like this. You pull the guys over and you say, "I saw you guys push off in that last play. I want you to know I'm not calling it
Yeah.
because we saw it going on. If anyone does it again, we will have cards or reds or whatever." There's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. It's an art. It's not black and white. I think
That is true.
refereeing is really hard. I think it's really difficult. And I think it's hard to get the best people to do it. What I'd like to see is Who Wants to Be a Referee, the TV show, where they just go through and find the best referee in the world based on big
Yeah.
games and try and figure out who the best really are. Because in
Yeah.
the World Cup, we don't have this problem, right? We have good refereeing, mostly.
Yeah. So the next big topic right now in England, it's kind of a toughie, but Manchester United fans are slamming the Glazers for shameful. They call them shameful because they made the decision not to send a representative to Sir Bobby Charlton's funeral after the club's owners claimed that they would have to stay away because from the ceremony because there would be a distraction if they go there.
Oh, God.
In to a certain extent, they do have a point, but I will also say, thinking about it, I don't think that Manchester United fans would be distasteful to just start chanting or yelling at the Glazers while being in a funeral. I think both things make sense.
Listen, you and I both know they can't win. If they show up, why are you there? You guys are scum. Get out of my club. If they don't show up, you're
Yeah.
disrespectful to Sir Bobby Charlton. I think they can't win. I think they're trying to sell
I
newspapers. I don't think that there's
yeah.
any real way out for the Glazers to look good.
And
Period.
at the end of the day, what the hell does a representative mean? Like, I mean, everybody out there is a representative of them.
Well,
'Cause
there's 7 of
they,
them
they,
that own the team, so one
well,
of them
what I'm
could have
saying
showed
is
up.
like the manager of I don't know if Ten Hag win. I'm sure he did. But
I hope he did.
if not, that would have been would have made headlines.
That would
But
have
he
made
is a
headlines.
representative of the
Yeah,
club.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Ultimately, that's what I think that people get too crazy with. I understand that the Glazers are the evil of this world, and we need to exterminate them. But
Yes,
you just
they are the reason that Man
yeah,
United aren't winning the league. Not
but
City being awesome, not
yeah,
Arsenal being awesome, not
no,
Jurgen Klopp
seriously,
being the
yeah,
best coach in the world. It's because of the Glazers.
exactly. No, yeah. So I just feel like sometimes we look for every single thing to just wake up and it's the Glazers' fault that we're just mad. You know what I mean? Like, just got to because when
Yeah,
you keep
yeah.
to me, and we're gonna move on. But when you keep repeating this stuff, like the Glazers suck, then eventually it just becomes a norm, and nobody gives a damn. So that's what you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying. So
I mean,
that's the way I look at it.
I live off this. I live off the Glazers suck. I live off of Schadenfreude, meaning
Yeah,
Chris, when I take pleasure out
I
of
know
other
that
people's
now. I had
failure.
to Google it. I didn't know how to say it, but how do
It's
you
my
say it?
favorite thing. It's actually why I like sport. Like you notice, I don't get too crazy about City, but if
Yeah,
United lose, I'm over the moon. If Liverpool lose, I'm happier than a clam. When Arsenal lose and lose weirdly, I'm even happier. So teams losing makes me happier than my team winning. Like I
exactly.
was very happy for for Chelsea. I was like, we won the treble. I'm good. And I know City will like step on the gas second half and just disappear
That
eventually
is true.
because
That
I
is
don't
true.
see any really good teams, honestly. But yeah, I do think in terms of the Glazers, again, it's like a company that where things aren't going well and people are doing their resumes when no one's looking. That's just the feeling I get. That's probably how it is to work there. It probably sucks. So that's
I,
why I think they're the worst run club in the league.
what do you think of Newcastle Bournemouth? What do you think about Newcastle?
Oh
You were out
man,
there expectating me
I
on the
watched it. I
yeah.
watched it. Yo, they got the doors blown off them. Honestly, if it weren't for Nick Pope, they would have given up 5. I mean, 10 shots on target. 10. That
No, yeah,
is
right.
so for
Bournemouth
10.
is
If you I will bet you Newcastle will not have another game all season where they give up 5 shots on target. I
yeah,
mean, that is a tremendous amount. And that says you're leggy because you can't get to the shooters. That says your midfield is not getting out to people. That's a matter of legs because you don't have the energy to push out on defense to close people down. That's
yeah,
tiredness. It has to be. Or it's not always when people say tiredness or match sharpness, it's not always physical. They can still run up and down. They're still world class athletes. The
right.
brain, they're not having enough time to not play. It's got to feel like for someone like Jamal Lascelles, who's a great captain and a great player, to go Thursday, Sunday, or Wednesday, Saturday, he's got to feel like he's on a treadmill, just like we're playing. Where are we playing? Where am I? We're in a hotel room. I was just in Germany. Now I'm in Bournemouth. Where's my mom? What's happened? The game's starting. Oh shit! Here we go. And I
Yeah,
think it was one game too many. Honestly.
I call it bullshit though. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I call it bullshit. I mean, listen, you can play bad, but you
You
can't
can't play
be
that bad.
you can't be Bournemouth. I know you man, you
No,
sold me
that
that
was bad.
card. You sold me that card yesterday talking about Bournemouth is out of relegation. They're just above the 18th spot. So
I agree.
but you cannot
No,
like
they laid an egg.
they
A
Bournemouth
bad.
deserve to score 5 goals.
They
And
did.
to me that means losing 5-0. That means
Yeah.
as if you lost 5-0, 6-0. So
Mhm.
just because they didn't score doesn't mean that they didn't deserve it. So to me, you lost 5-0, 6-0 to Bournemouth, and you can't allow that. You cannot
Nope.
allow that. I understand that, but you cannot. And to be fair, Newcastle is just unlucky because they just keep every match. We just got to figure out who's
Somebody
going to get
gets
hurt.
hurt.
Every match somebody gets
Yeah.
hurt. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
it's just a
Yeah.
luck of a
Agreed.
draw. But so there are things that are just happening, but at the or not because we just don't know. It might be training too hard, maybe too many matches. Whatever it is, I
And the
think that
style,
Newcastle
the
needs to keep
style
their
is
priorities.
very aggressive, right? They can't sustain it
Yeah.
right now.
It,
They need to
the
if I don't know if you probably won't remember this, but early Klopp, that Liverpool team played the way Newcastle does. And somewhere when they were going for the title and Thiago came in, they stopped playing like that. They started slowing things down and controlling games more. instead of that frenetic, crazy style. And I
Right.
think that's the part that Newcastle is in. You can get to a certain place playing that way when you need it, when you have to do it. But they need another player. And I think that's probably what they were smart. I think they recognized it. I think that's probably why they got Tonali in to sort of be somebody who can get on the ball, take the sting out of the ball, pass it around, and control games. That's Newcastle's issue. They cannot control games. And so when they have to play and they have to create by using force, and one of those games they don't have force, they lose. And the other thing is, Bournemouth do have a good midfield. I know it sounds crazy to say. That's the strength of that team. Philip Billing is a good player, probably controlled it. Semenyo was killing them. And then you had the fight. You had Trippier fighting with the fans at the end of the game.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And but also like when I watched that segment, and I was like, it just makes him small.
It does make him
Not in
small.
not in that bad sense. What I'm trying to say is, you go in because you're giving this idiot a platform. You know what I
Don't
mean?
say anything. Just be
Like, because by you saying, do you not notice how many people we have hurt? That means you're putting them
an
in your
excuse.
level. You're putting them
Mhm.
in your level. You're letting them think that you're giving them an excuse to his demand. Meaning
Yes.
you're just putting yourself in the same place. That idiot, don't give idiots.
You
Fans
know what?
yell
Just think
all
of it
the
this way.
time, man.
Would Luka Modric ever do that? No.
No, and I'm not
And
saying
he's
that he
and
treated the
he's
fan wrong. I think
one of the
that the idiot was the fan.
and I rate Luka Modric as one of the great competitors of football, because to play at that high level for that long, you gotta want to play. Because I think guys do lose the will to play when, especially as they get older. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So yeah, Trippier doing that to the fan, I think, is a mistake. It does diminish Newcastle to the fans and to the league. Although I did hear something that they changed the way that they're handling away support, and like they got a bit more riffraff from the Newcastle fans. And I do think Newcastle fans need to still be not grateful, but just be like, hey, this is the first season with Europe. It's hard. You're gonna take a moment of adjustment. I
Yeah,
think
that's true.
they really do have to take these hits, take these losses, take these draws, grab themselves together, and make sure they don't get cut adrift from the European spot, so that when they're ready, they can push again.
Okay. Well,
Mm.
that is our Newcastle segment that that I have
You're
to
sad.
push.
You're sad.
I have to
Newcastle's
I
good.
have to push. I have to push there. Nobody else will. Nobody remembers. But that's okay. We'll get there. We just have to check our priorities at this point. You can't
Yeah,
have it all.
yeah,
You can't have
yeah.
it all.
I'm sad because I can't talk about my beloved Brighton anymore because they're not so good
So what
anymore.
happened? So what? Brighton, man, they're just
They're listless, man.
you thought they were
Four
gonna be
draws out
top
of 5.
four,
I thought they were top 4, man. Top 4 all the way.
but
They were
the
playing
last
like that.
but
They were playing like
the
that.
thing though is that Brighton, they have tied the last. They have so many ties. The last
4.
four of the out of the last
4 out of
five,
5. Yeah.
4 out of 5, and they lost one. So that's but ties after ties
Yeah.
after ties after ties.
Yeah.
They
It's killing
started
them.
good. They started
Yeah.
good, man.
Yeah, I think the Danny Welbeck thing, I think the injuries, I think a
Yeah.
lot of things are going on. In this game, they probably would have beat Sheffield United, but Dahoud slammed a foot right on the ankle of a Sheffield player. And once they had a man off, they weren't able to find that extra gear. The best part about this game was my guy Adingra running through the entire Sheffield United defense, almost scoring a goal. Similar to that, almost Cole Palmer almost scored one like that, where he ran through the entire City defense and took a shot that Ederson saved. So some good young players in the Premier League, but my beloved Brighton are sputtering. De Zerbi did say he hates 80% of the referees in the Premier League. He got another yellow. He's got a lot of fire. You would like him. He's got that Italian
I
kind of
do,
vibe.
but
He's got like a offensive Conte style, right? Like he has the demeanor of Conte and Simeone, but in an attacking style football. So I'd rather have that than like that type of style with like defense first. It's just but I
yeah,
think
but I don't
he's
think that
getting a
he's
little
gonna.
found out. He's gonna not be able to get those big jobs if
That's exactly
Brighton
what I
keep
was going to
playing.
say. Like, I don't think that he was the candidate for a lot of teams, and now
Yeah,
even
yeah,
Manchester
yeah.
United, he was a
Yeah,
candidate
yeah,
for
exactly.
Manchester United.
Now
I
now
don't
maybe now maybe Gary O'Neill is for Manchester United.
now he's a candidate for Sheffield United.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
listen, life comes at you fast, man. That's why you gotta
That's
take
it.
those jobs when they come,
That
right?
is true. That
Right?
is
Like, think
true.
about Graham Potter, man. He was like, "Yeah, I'll take the Chelsea job." He's like, "Ooh, maybe not." So
It's
we'll
screw that
see.
up.
I mean, I can't wait for Potter to come back. I really was a huge fan of Potter as well. I think sometimes the team you're not at the level yet, right? Like, I feel like when Moyes goes, Potter will take the West Ham job or something like that. Those kind of levels of teams that you feel in the right place for. But let me
Yeah,
jump around. I didn't do my score dance, which is sad, but
that
that's
is
okay.
true.
But we've already talked about Wolves. We talked about United and Luton and Burnley and Arsenal, a game not worth
Liverpool.
talking about. Liverpool, an
Not
easy
much to talk
game.
about
Well,
in
it's
it.
actually not an easy game. A good win for Liverpool and another moment to sort of. Mo Salah has 200 goals in the Premier League.
That is true.
200 goals in the Premier League. Um, I talked about this a few weeks ago. Just the idea that we are not considerate of players that are very consistent over a long period of time. Mo Salah is one of the all-time greatest Premier League players. Is it? I don't think he has 200 goals in the Premier League. It's close. He's getting there. He has 200 in his career, I think. Let me
Yeah.
see. Yeah,
No, but I will agree
93.
with that. I will agree that Mo
That when a
Salah
player is
doesn't get talked about.
consistent, yeah, when a player is consistent like that, over 20 goals a season, almost 10 assists every year, he's 20 and
Right.
10 for 6 straight years. You you don't realize how great he is until he's gone. And you miss him and you don't understand what happened to your team. He put this team on his back, gets the first goal, really breaks Brentford's spirit. Brentford were good. Klopp praised them. They didn't. This game was 1-1 into it was 0-0 until the 50th minute of the second half. So Brentford did their Brentford thing where they're a pain in the ass. They're tough to play. If you make a mistake, they'll beat you. But I think the reemergence of Van Dijk as the best defender in the division came through. He shuttled Mbuemo off on a break. One of these plays, very like calm, cool, collected. I think the thing with defenders that you always have to realize is you always have to remember the things that don't happen. It's not the tackles. It's that guy didn't make that run because he ran with him, or he stepped up and caused that offside move. So Van Dijk's great at that. Nobody's getting past him at the moment. But yeah, just a good win for Liverpool. They're definitely in a title race for sure. They've got to work on those away results. That Luton 1-1, if they're down
That
at
was
the end of the
tough.
season and they're looking at 85 points and City are
Yeah.
2 points against them, Manny and all the Liverpool boys in the WhatsApp chat are going to go, remember that 1-1 we got against Luton away? What the hell was that? It's
Right.
those away forms. Got to win games away from home. That's the key for Liverpool. A draw against Aston Villa away is going to kill them. A draw against Spurs away is going to kill them. They've got to win big games away from home.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so let's go with a few segments. So, donkey of the week. This could be a little tough for you, because I mean, who can?
Donkey of the week. Let me
Who
think
was
about.
the
I got one
dumbest?
for myself. I'm going to think about my own selfish donkey of the week is my guy Gvardiol blowing it for City. What are you doing, guy? Get it together. Cost City a freaking win against Chelsea. I'm
Okay.
giving him a donkey hat. That's one for me.
For me, I'm giving donkey of the week to the whole Newcastle team.
Oh,
Yeah, they just played. They were just terrible, 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 terrible. So to me, yeah, they deserve it. They need to
yeah,
get the
yeah.
donkey of the week. So, what was your who was the star for you this week? Who was the player or maybe the squad that just they just took you over the moon?
As a
That's
City
the
fan,
thing.
I'm gonna go back to that Chelsea game, which was so big.
Oh, you're
I
gonna
think
steal mine. You're gonna
it's
steal
no, no,
my
no.
guy.
I'll go. I think it's Raheem Sterling and Cole Palmer, more Palmer than anything, just to show the maturity, to show the leadership. You know what? I won't even do that. My guy, Conor Gallagher, the engine, the man who makes the team go, running everywhere, tackling everyone, doing it all the time. I love me some Conor Gallagher. It's Conor Gallagher, the
Yeah.
captain of your mighty Chelsea Blues.
Yeah, I will. I was gonna say Cole Palmer, but I think that's an
Do
easy
it then.
one.
Do it then, because
No, no, no,
you
no.
have to
Because
hit.
actually, to me, I will give it to Thiago Silva. Yep,
Uh-huh.
that's it. I know that you don't. You're just killing yourself, but uh,
He makes
he's
it
the one that
happen.
made the mistake on the penalty, correct?
Yes, yes.
In the next
No,
play,
no, 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 no.
it
That was
wasn't him.
Cucurella. It was Cucurella.
Was it? I thought it was
Cucurella
Thiago
grabbed him.
Silva.
No, 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 no. Cucurella got a hold of Holland.
Oh damn! Never mind. Then that he's not gonna be. I thought because I was gonna say I was gonna give it to him for the resilience coming in the next play
He
and
scored
just
the goal.
boom. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
he
mean
scored the
you
goal,
have
and
to
he
make
does lead that team. He's always pointing people like, "Go, you go
yeah.
here, go you there."
No,
And then
I
also
will
when goals go in, he points at them again. That
yeah.
was your fault.
I will say Cole Palmer then. I mean,
Yeah,
he was terrific.
he's
Um
always good.
he was terrific. So
And
unfortunately
they have that term in England, right? He backed himself, right?
unfortunately
He said,
City don't give young players a chance. So yeah.
well, no, the
But
story was
hey,
this.
let me
The
tell you
sto-
something.
this
Parents, if you're out there in Manchester, you better go to Manchester United. They're gonna give them the chance. City,
this this
they don't care
the
about it.
story went like this. He goes to Pep. He's like, "I want to go," and Pep was like, "Yo, Riyad Mahrez is leaving the team. Stay." And he said, "No, I'm good. I want to go." And so they sold him. And that was the reason. Pep is City are really, really good about if you don't want to be here, don't just say it. Stay with us. But if you really want to go, bring us a deal that makes sense and we'll let you go. The only one that they really haven't let go is Bernardo Silva, who I think Pep just loves too much. But otherwise, if you want to go, they let you go. And we don't slam guys on the way out. We just let them go. And
So
you can see them in the league, right? We got
yeah.
Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, and now Palmer and Sterling are in our two rivals. Those are City players.
So what's your match of the week? I mean, I'm assuming that's gonna be easy.
It's
That's
got to be the 4-4. But underrated match of the week, underrated team of this player of the week for me. If you don't watch Abdoulaye Doucouré on Everton, you are missing out on a machine. That guy runs all day, all night, wants
yeah.
to win. When the Toffees are only in this division because of Abdoulaye Doucouré's goals. And Frank Lampard is a moron because he wouldn't play him. And since Dyche has been there, he's been freed. He's playing a number 10 role. He's running up and down. He's getting his head on things. He's making passes. It's his pass with Idrissa Gueye that gets the game winner for Everton. And Everton are not going to be relegated. I promise you that.
I will give my match of the week because the next moment of the week probably will be that game as well. But I will give it to West Ham Nottingham Forest because I think it would turn out entertaining. West Ham haven't been really good this season. Nottingham Forest is always a tough ground, but just a lot of goals. Actually, especially since after at the end of the first half, that's when they came out 44th minute, and then in the second half, a lot of goals, a lot of moments. But yeah.
I
So
love giving credit to players that I don't think people really understand how good they are. Um, Bowen's incredible.
yeah.
Runs all day, really good finisher, like a poor man's Min Son, just a Premier League player, a player that if he's on your team, you love his work rate, his finishing, he gets in on goals. He won them their trophy in the Europa Conference League on the break, again, playing off the shoulders of people, a guy who came from the championship. I tracked him all the way from Hull to now at West Ham, and now he's the main man at that team because Mikel Antonio, my friend, you're not playing anymore because Mohamed Kudus took Bowen's spot and Bowen took yours. So Bowen is just my favorite player on that team.
For my favorite moment of the week, I'm gonna give it to Nicholas Jackson because that goal caught me really off guard, and the way he maneuvered, he controlled himself, and just scored. That was to me. That
On
was
the rebound from my guy Gallagher's shot.
yeah, yeah. I think that was the one.
How
So
about Justo's miss though? Oh my God, he shot it over the bar.
oh yeah, that is true.
So bad.
Dang man, that is true.
So
That is
yeah,
true.
listen, man.
It was nice. Well,
According to the nerd stats, that was a 2.5 expected goal to 2.5 expected goal game. So it was even, and the goals were even. It was real. That was a real game. One of the best. One of the best you'll see. An instant classic, as
yeah,
they like
that
to
is
say.
true. Well,
What else do I got?
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I don't think I got anything else. I think we covered all game. Aside from our friends in Aston Villa, we gave no love to Aston Villa. I
Well,
do
they're
have
doing
something to
well.
keep on. Villa up, second highest scoring team in the league. Ollie Watkins, is he the best English striker? Not named Harry Kane. He might be, or your boy Callum Wilson. But keep an eye on
No,
it.
Colin wasn't though.
Fulham are starting to slip into the stink zone. They're not scoring goals. Paulinho can't do it all. That team is on the stink end of the world. I think that ultimately Bournemouth might catch them and they might get dragged into the relegation zone if they can't find a striker. Losing
Right.
Mitrovic, huge. Jimenez is cooked. They got no goals in that team.
All right. Well, we end the show on that note. Football tonight. So I guess Laurent thinks that Fulham is going to get relegated. Just say it with your chest, bro. Say it with your chest.
They're in the mix, but they need
But
they need
Bournemouth
the
is out. Get the hell out of here, man.
No, but they need, you won't, again, it's
Yeah.
like the bear chasing you. You just need four worse teams. I think there are still four worse teams than Fulham. But we still have to see. And then one thing for my guys at Burnley, just before we go, their striker, Lyle, has left the team because of mental health issues. I have sympathy, but just like, don't sign a striker who can't handle
That's
pressure
mental
of being in a
problem.
Premier League. Like, I have empathy. That's nice. But
Yep.
this is big boy league. You can't just leave your team behind, dude.
That
You
is
got to be
true.
like, "Oh, I don't feel good. I got to go." Be like, "Yo, gee, like maybe do some exercise. Like start running. Like I know you run all the time, but
See, psychology. You don't have to just quit the team, bro.
I know. I mean, maybe it's really bad. Maybe he's bipolar.
That is
Maybe
true.
he's schizophrenic. That's fine. But
Damn.
I do feel bad for my guy Vincent Company, who's relying on a striker who basically left
Vincent.
the team.
Vincent. Anyways, that's it for football tonight. My man Laurent Cortines, Chris Rodriguez right here. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Let's get to 50 likes on this stream, on this episode. That way, more football fans get to see it. And of course, if you're listening to the listening platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., thank you so much for your preference. And we will see you or hear you. We won't hear you, but you'll hear us next time. See you guys on the next one.